Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. It's Rachel, and I'm bringing you the final video for Vlogmas 2022. Why? Because we're out of time. It's time for Christmas already. And if you're like me, you're busy doing all of the last minute everythings. Since we were spending a few days before Christmas in Chicago, I needed to get some dips ready for our family get-together, which always happens on Christmas Eve. And to make it a little easier on myself, I decided that I would make these dips ahead of time so that when we got back from our little vacation, I wouldn't have as much to do. So here you're seeing that I was getting these onions ready to toss into my veggie chopper so that I can get them diced up into little bite-sized pieces. This first dip is called $1 Million Dip, and I will link the recipe in the description box. And as always with every recipe, if it's not my own, I do little changes to make it my own. I just can't help myself when it comes to recipes to just change them up a little bit with things that I think sound good. These are pretty big chunks of onions, and I probably should have used the smaller chopping grate that goes in my chopper, but I didn't. And at some point for the other dip, I do go back and re-chop these onions to make them smaller. But for this one, I thought it would be just fine. Next, I'm getting 2 blocks of cream cheese into my container, and I softened it up in the microwave for 1 minute. Now remember, I have a very large family, so I'm doubling this recipe. Next, I measured out about a cup of mayonnaise. And nothing about this dip has to be exact. Those are my favorite kind of recipes because I hate measuring anything. And I used about a cup of those chopped up onions in this recipe as well. Next, I started off with about half of a bag of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, but I actually ended up using the whole bag when the whole recipe was said and done. I just really wanted it to be nice and cheesy. At this point, I gave it all a mix, and you really have to use your muscles to get that cream cheese to soften up and mix together with everything else. And this part isn't pretty. I know other videos make it look nice and easy, but I'm just going to show you the cold hard truth. Next, I added some seasoning salt, and I am using a teaspoon measuring spoon. And so I did add a little bit more, I think. I can't remember. But anyway, you would just season it to your taste. I like to go a little easy on the seasoning salt. It's not my favorite seasoning out there, but my husband does like it, and you do want a little something in there just to break up that cream cheese flavor. But I do think that I left it at 1 teaspoon now that I think about it, because I'm adding all of these bacon pieces, and that is going to give it a salty flavor as well. So I added a small pouch of slivered almonds and most of a package of bacon pieces. And now we're back to mixing. There's a lot of mixing going on for this recipe. And depending on what size batch you're making, this could be considered a cardio workout. And that is it for the first dip. It is ready to go. I'm just going to put the lid on, and then after I have hubby taste it to make sure that it tastes good, it's going in the fridge. I know this one will be a hit with the family. They always like this dip whenever it's served up. Next, we're going to make up a quick bowl of dill pickle dip. And to get started, I'm just putting those big pieces of onion back into my chopper, and I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. This is a super simple and quick dip. It's basically chopped up pickles, chopped up onions, sour cream, and ranch seasoning mix. But this is one of my favorites. I really love the taste of dill pickles and ranch dressing together. I do have a recipe to share with you that I found on Pinterest, and I will link that in the description box, although I just eyed my pickles and onions and sour cream and just used as much as I wanted and just made it as chunky as I wanted it to be. And we really like pickles, so I'm making it extra pickly. And of course, if you don't have a food chopper, then you will need to just take a knife and cut your pickles into smaller pieces. I thought possibly you could use relish. I'm not sure, but it did cross my mind just to buy some relish and make it that way. But I just wasn't sure if it would be more like tartar sauce. And then I knew that I wanted to have nice big chunks of pickles in my dip. So this is how we're making it. And because I have a super large family, I'm using half of the container of one of these really big size sour creams that I picked up at Walmart. And then I added 2 packs of the ranch dip and dressing mix. And again, that is just something that you would add as much or as little as you want to suit your taste. But I felt that this was just perfect for the amount that I was making, and this dip turned out absolutely delicious. And of course, you just blend it all together, and that is pretty much it for this one. And that's what I like about this dip, is that it is so simple to put together. And because it's sour cream and not cream cheese, it is easy to mix. I just wanted a little more pickle-y flavor, so I added a couple of teaspoons of pickle juice to the dip and then mixed it up again, and I thought it was just perfect by then. This dip tastes so good on Ritz crackers or Townhouse crackers or club crackers, whatever you call them, but if you're a pickle lover like I am, I just dip a pickle in my pickle dip. And here I am with my veggie chopper again. This thing really does come in handy, I'm telling you. So here I am putting some drained water chestnuts on my chopping grate, and I'm just going to get them chopped up really quick into tiny pieces. I'm making a cold spinach dip as my third dip to take to our family party. And I love spinach dip, but not all spinach dips are created the same. And this is just how I prefer my spinach dip. So, of course, make it any way that you like it. I'm just showing you how I like to make ours. And because this dip will be sitting in my fridge for a couple of days, you want to make sure that you're using ingredients that will hold up. You don't want ingredients that are going to break down and become soggy or runny or just plain gross before Christmas. Nothing worse than going to a Christmas party and having yucky dips. And now that the water chestnuts are chopped up into smaller pieces, I'm going to get started draining my chopped spinach. And I just took the easy route and bought a couple packages of the frozen chopped spinach from Walmart, and I rinsed them off in some lukewarm water to thaw them out, and now I'm just pressing all of that liquid out of the spinach. And as you can see, I'm taking my fingers and just kind of pressing it up against the outer walls of my wire strainer to get all of that juice out of there. And then I'm just going to add that spinach in with my water chestnuts. And I really love the Knorr vegetable seasoning, but I totally either walked past it, didn't see it, or just plain forgot it when I was at the store. And so since I was not going back to the store, we're just going to make it work. Next, I used a cup of mayo in this recipe, along with the remainder of my sour cream. To season up this dip and give it lots of yummy flavor, I'm using my house seasoning, which is salt, garlic powder, and onion powder. And I've used it before in this dip when I didn't have the Knorr vegetable seasoning, so I knew that it would work just fine. And then all I had to do was give it a whisk, or not a whisk, a stir. Yeah, a whisk would not hold up very well in my opinion in this dip or any of the dips that I made. And then I added some sharp cheddar cheese, and this is kind of where my recipe differs from other recipes that use Parmesan or mozzarella cheese. And of course, since the other dips are usually baked and the cheese gets all melty, that's where this is kind of different. I'm just using a nice sturdy harder cheese that will hold up in this dip for a couple days in the fridge, and it also gave it a really nice robust flavor. And in our family, we really like sharp cheddar cheese. Obviously, I seem to use it in almost anything and everything. All right, just mix until you get all of that spinach mixed in there, and that is all there is to this dip. And this one is good to dip your veggies in. It's good on crackers or on bread. And now for our party, all I have to do is set my dips out and then set our veggie trays and our cracker trays and all that kind of stuff out. And half of the work will be done for me. And now, because it wouldn't be Christmas unless there was something sweet, and let's face it, are the kids really gonna go for those other dips? Probably not. So I am making a cookie dough dip to dip graham crackers in. And once again, I'm starting with 2 blocks of softened cream cheese, a half a cup of brown sugar, and then about a half a cup of sweetened condensed milk. And then next I'm going to come in and add some cinnamon. I used 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, just enough to give it that cinnamon flavor that you get in a chocolate chip cookie. I totally forgot to add the vanilla, but that's all right. We didn't miss it when we did our taste test. Again, you're just going to use your muscles and get that all mixed together, and then you add your chocolate chips, and that is it. This dip is better after it chills, so it does look a little thin, but it will thicken up as it gets cold. Right now it's been worked over so that cream cheese is melted down. That's it for the 4th dip, which I'm just going to put in the fridge with the others until we're ready for our Christmas Eve party. And that's the end of my Vlogmas videos. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas, and thank you for watching.